It was very important to establish the idea of human freedom, and all our political systems are built on various adumbrations of this concept of freedom.
We're taking over the airwaves, St. Louis, so step out of your safe space and polish up that foil hat.
I have certain rules I live by. My first rule, I don't believe anything the government tells me.
It's Hoosier Sophisticate with Craig Kohler and Stephen Elgin. Your deprogramming begins now.
Man cannot fall and be redeemed without the dimension of human freedom. Only the free can be guilty, because only the free are responsible for what they do.
Hoosier Sophisticate.com. I said 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 Hoosier Sophisticate.com. Hello, everybody. What a Friday. What a Friday. That's how you start a radio show.
It is Friday.
That's how you start a radio show. Hello,
St.
Louis.
Out?
Hello, world. Hello, everybody. Hi, Craig. Hi, Seth. And hi, Roman. Who's this?
Roman
stranger back?
Stranger
Oh,
cause.
Stranger's
Stranger
back.
danger.
It's great. The stranger danger. There's my whistle. Where's my whistle? God, it's so great to be here. What a week.
What a week.
What a week we've had. It's insane. We got a great show for everybody. I'm super excited. You can catch us at HoosierSophisticate.com. You can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us on Twitter. You can catch us on Instagram. You can catch us on anything, Craig. 9:20 a.m.
WGNU 920am.com.
You can do it.
Live.
You can do it anywhere.
Right
get it. Get
YouTube.
it wherever you want it.
You
get
can,
it.
if you're listening on the radio, you get home, you want to see our beautiful faces, you could jump on Facebook on the live stream, on
Jump on
YouTube,
live
on the
stream.
Mycelial Media channel on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Do it
Text
for
us. Text us.
Shoot us a text, 314-880-0808. That phone line, by the way,
Call it.
call it. You want to know why? Because Parlor STL and Tower Classic Tattooing,
They're the best.
They make it possible for you to do it.
They're the best.
We got MomedCanco.com in the house.
Oh, they still get good
Put
color.
that microphone out of the way there. Show your
can't
booty
see it.
off. Show
I
your
just
booty
showed
off
my butt to the camera.
for all
So,
you in Radio
yeah.
Land. So Momed Canco, Missouri Medical Cannabis Company.
Ooh.
They make this whole presentation possible.
Can you say that?
MomedCanco.com. Enter HOSO at checkout. Guess what? You get 15% off everything
What?
site-wide.
Woo. What? 15%?
15% off everything site-wide. And just let them know the old sophisticated Hoosier sent you.
Just because you're a fan of the show, you're getting discounts and we're adding value to your life, Seth?
I can't get over that intro.
Who's
That was so bad.
.com. Everybody gets it. That's an earworm for you guys. That's my specialty. I saw Integrity. Integrity's in the
building.
There's my man. I saw him. He was getting down to it. Am I right? You're getting down to that a little bit? Not too bad. He's nodding his head. He's nodding his head in
As
agreement
Roman
'cause I-
dropped that beat.
Oh, God, that's good. You got a nice little mouth, boy.
That's probably not the first time I've
Here,
heard
make a
that,
note
nor
of that.
will that be the last.
Hey,
Steve.
you said you were making a note, Seth. What was the other note you said you had written down? You didn't
Earlier,
know?
outside we were having a little show meeting, a little pre-show gathering. And we
Pre-show.
were talking to, pre-show. We were talking about, we need to take better notes, basically.
Yeah, we do.
The things we've said. And
We
I was telling you earlier, I pulled out
Okay.
of my bag a
From a
crumpled up
bag.
piece of
My
paper,
bag.
and I look at it, and the note is, Steve says balls of love at 7 something.
I
But
don't,
it didn't have a date, though.
I don't remember saying it. I honestly don't remember
Balls
saying it.
of love.
That's why I love your game so much.
There's typically balls of love in your mouth constantly. Like it's a hard thing to pinpoint.
You can't say that on the radio, right, Seth?
Well,
Can't
it's a
say
hard
that?
thing to pinpoint.
Yeah, it's chocolate salty or whatever.
Yeah, like chef.
Turkey
Yeah,
meatballs.
Thank you. Okay.
Mountain
You're right.
oysters. Healthy.
Jenny, shout out to Jen, my wife. She made some delicious meatballs. You ever have the meatballs with like the jam and the sauce? It's like there's jam in the sauce.
Yeah.
It's good. I love jam sauce and meatballs.
Swedish
so
meatballs.
good, dude. Oh, baby. Tell them what we got on the show tonight, Craig.
What do we got on the show tonight? We've got our friend of the show, former U.S. Senate candidate, still very involved in the libertarian movement, owner of the libertarianrepublic.com, Austin Petersen. It's going to join us at 6:30. We're going to talk about
Awesome.
We're going to recap the year a little bit, ladies and germs.
Mhm.
It's going to be a good old time. We're going to talk about all the crazy stuff going on in the political spectrum. We've got some cannabis news. We'll talk to him a little bit about the hemp bill, what he thinks about the farm bill, and
Good.
how Thomas Massey is, getting on board, what he thinks about people keeping their guns. That might possibly be patients.
He's getting booed. He's getting booed off of the Senate floor
because he's making them record votes.
How ridiculous was
great.
that? I get
great.
all
How
of
dare
my
he do
Thomas
his job.
Massey news from you, which I appreciate you
Yeah,
and
sure.
Marty. I'll call
Marty
out Marty.
Radel?
He's so great
Yep.
about keeping me up to date with who's actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. Massey is the man. He gives a thumbs up
gem.
to everybody who's booing him. They booed this man
for doing his job.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Was he
I don't
smiling?
get it. I can't.
I'll bet he was smiling.
Oh, he was
always
smiling.
smiling.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it means
a
he knows
great
he's
guy.
doing what he's supposed to be doing. So.
He's making them record their votes. What was it on? What was the vote on? Do you remember?
It was they were trying to. That's the whole thing.
They
is
slip
before
all
they
the
go to
things.
before they go to recess, they think they can hammer all these things through. And he says, other than getting people to actually record the votes, what people don't see are the things that weren't put to a vote because he stood up there and made people put their name on it. So Thomas Massey, hats off to you.
I
sir.
love that guy.
The great congressman of Kentucky. Gosh, Kentucky's got some great politicians standing up.
I know it's crazy, Kentucky.
Man, so
I could just
good.
picture
I got land
Massey.
over there.
From, right?
I can just
Apparently,
picture
I got land over
Massey,
there.
like Massey just walking off while being booed to a Bee Gees song.
It's funny because that's my family's name over in
Beat.
Kentucky.
That
Is
would be
Massey.
awesome.
So I wonder
Please-
if I'm kin to the guy.
This is great. Okay, so Roman, you're from Kentucky, right?
Well, my family's from there. Yeah, Massey's. They're the Masseys.
We did a Google search at work one day. Roman and I were doing some laboring together, and
Oh,
just
my
some
God.
man's work. And we were like looking up our names and stuff. You look up McNews of they're like the whites of West Virginia, the McNews of Kentucky, baby.
Terrible.
He's like
all
"Jeez,
of them were like prison
yes,
photos.
they're all mugshots.
And then there's me just looking all
Yeah,
dapper and stuff.
and Roman has about 3 glamour shots on there. I'm like, you're giving the family a good name, dude. It was great. So if you're bored, Google McNew in Kentucky and have yourself a good
I gotta do
old
this.
time. Please
Pull it
do.
up right
It's
now.
great. But I
Check
can't
this
wait
out.
to talk to Austin Petersen. I think the way he's been using social
He's
media,
great.
the way he's on
way
Twitch.
ahead of every politician in the game. When it comes to social media, there is no denying how much further ahead of the curve he is than everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
If you'll remember during the Senate race, and he was outspent. I mean, the Republican Party threw everything into Josh Hawley's basket, right? But if you remember, if not for campaign rules, and had they formed a super PAC, somebody tried to donate $250,000 in Bitcoin. To him.
Bitcoin.
He's always been very crypto friendly. That's the very libertarian angle. So he's an interesting guy because I think I felt like, and one of the reasons why I was so excited to get behind him is because I know. Austin, I see you, baby. I see you. No, but because he can stand toe to toe and talk Constitution with anybody in the game.
For
And at the same
sure.
time, like he gets meme culture.
Yes.
And he understands how much power there is in that in today's day and age, and the way to shape. There's a battle right now, and as someone who's voted conservative and then kind of moved towards libertarianism more and more, there's a battle, and you see it this younger generation, and as kids are younger, it's very easy to understand why they go for politicians that promise the world, because they haven't been around long enough to just let down by these people.
I'm there.
Just let down over and
I'm
over and
getting
over
to
again.
that
They are
stage.
not the answer. They have no answers for you. They're not interested in what makes your life better. And a lot of times when it comes to what makes your life better, it's not always the easiest thing.
No.
We got to stand up and take responsibility
Yeah, you
for
do.
ourselves. So there is this contingent. There's kind of a counterculture to what I would consider a lot of younger kids. And for my liberal friends, I'd mean no offense by this, but when I was younger, they said, hey, if you're 18, you don't vote Democrat, you don't have a heart. But if you're 30, you
Yep.
don't vote
My
Republican,
dad
you
told
don't
me
have
that.
a brain, right?
Shout out to George.
And that's kind of an old adage, and it's too simple. And
Yeah, it is.
especially because Democrats and Republicans, there's so little.
Talk crap on my dad.
There's
Jesus
so
Christ.
little separating them anymore.
Yeah, oh, no doubt.
It's ridiculous. Whoever's in power is still hammering dog
Yep.
crap down our
Yep.
throats. So
And
so it's really nice to see like these other kids are like, oh, you guys are all
Yep.
fools. We don't require you to give us our news anymore. We don't require you to be a middleman for us anymore. We don't. And so like it's really encouraging to see this younger group of people get passionate and kind of get behind a movement. I think Austin is young
gets
enough and fresh enough that he speaks their language,
Sublime.
but he can still stand. The thing that I am most upset about, I think he would have been a tremendous senator for us. The thing I'm most upset about is that we didn't get to see him in a main debate stage, because the one debate that he did, He
Probably never
absolutely undressed every single one of his opponents and did it so tactfully. And it was how many times we were going to make a clip video, how many times the people that came and spoke up after and be like, well, it's like Austin said. Well, it's like Austin said. Well, it's like Austin
He said if someone can put together a clip video for it, because the other candidates said it so
they corroborated
frequently.
every point that he was, except the thing is that he actually meant it. So when he was like,
Well,
hey,
they might have meant it
they're
too
like,
after
oh,
they
that
heard
sounds
it.
good.
well,
Yeah,
that
sounds good.
you know,
Go ahead and
you know,
copy
but,
that.
but he says things like, hey, I'm running as a conservative and building a massive wall for millions and millions of dollars. It's not a conservative ideology.
He broke me with a simple thought on that whole wall deal, and I want to tease it a little bit. I dropped that knowledge that he dropped on Facebook to my family and friends at Christmas, and they were like, oh. So I'm going to get a little bit into that. We're going to talk to him a little bit about that.
At
Seth,
7:00, Seth, you put together a little gem for us, didn't you?
I did. We're going to take a walk down memory lane with
Can't wait.
our 2018
A lot of
mashup,
work.
just the best moments of 2018
Lot of
from the
work,
show.
Seth.
And of
I
course,
love
a
these
lot of
things, too.
things aren't in there, but a lot of things are. That's the best I can tell you.
okay.
So that's good.
I
It's
can't
good.
wait.
I'm
But
always
gonna tell you.
excited anytime you have fun
Yeah,
with
me too.
audio. I'm always excited to see what
Oh,
you
I
put together.
I put my heart and soul into this.
I
one, baby.
believe you.
It's all good. This is my
I
gift
believe
to you.
you.
It's my
Well,
late
thank you.
Christmas present.
Yeah,
I'm
we
gonna
should have
tell
got him some.
I'm going to tell you
We
right
did.
now, this search result, the image
Ugh.
results for McNew family in Kentucky is absolutely insane. Everybody's either dead or in jail. What's with all the tombstones? Charles is dead. You know Charles?
Well, no, this is the thing. Is it's Massey's.
A lot of them look like
Banjo? We have that banjo.
You got McNews in Southeast
Ah,
Missouri, and
I
you
know,
got
it's touchy.
Massey's in Kentucky. So if you're looking at McNews in Kentucky, you might not find anything.
Oh, I found something.
It's just an imaginary line.
I found a bunch of people that look like Heaven's Gate members.
We got something on our Facebook page. We got Frank E chiming in. He says the Constitution is whack. How many current organizations follow rules set before the Industrial Revolution?
He probably
Answer,
follows the
religions and
I was
governments.
gonna say he probably follows the Old Testament.
Really, Frank E follows the Old Testament.
know.
Interesting.
Blanket statement.
BC days.
Interesting thought from that thought. That was nice.
BC, I can dig it.
Yeah, guys. We got a huge show for everybody, but Craig and I were talking a little bit about inconsiderate people, and I heard earlier that on our page, someone was like, "I'm commenting for the first time. I just love all the positivity that pours out of the Sophisticated Hoosiers Facebook group." And that we were talking, we're like, God, that's exactly where we wanted to be. We wanted to not be a safe space, but we wanted to be a place where people could talk about ideas, interchange differences in thought, but in a cordial way, in a thoughtful way. Showing a little bit of empathy and hearing the people say that about it it's a beautiful thing, Craig.
Sure.
What we're starting to build here. And
I was wondering, like, because sometimes I wonder if we gotten away from that, because we did.
Yeah.
You had this previous show, and we had the
Yeah, I
School
did.
for Unconditional Love was our group,
Yes.
and we're going to bring that back in some capacity because it was such a great name, and it was really all encompassing of what we wanted to do. And you're right, like it doesn't mean that you're going to be safe from like hard debates. That's not what we're looking for here. But ideally, everybody's going to leave feeling better and better than they were when they came there. And it's kind of this like simple little mantra that I like: just be a credit and not a debit. Be a credit and not a debit. Add to the conversation. It doesn't necessarily, you don't have to be in agreement. Add to it in a respectful way.
oh yeah,
We always talk, you're not going to win anybody over with piss and vinegar. It's not going to happen.
we had a couple bright little shiny bright lights in the group too that are really like
Mhm.
stepping up. People that
I
like
know.
you don't know them that well.
Yeah.
But then you start seeing some of these interactions. You're like, oh, the internet's not the most awful place in the world. And we were talking about inconsiderate people and how to kind of deal with them. You told me a pretty funny story on the way here. I think we should get into that.
Sure.
But I had a pretty interesting experience at Home Depot earlier today. Shout out to the one on Kings Highway. You're trash. You're
trash.
awful. You're trash. You know it.
You're trash.
I got to do this thing called a text to confirm.
Fortnite.
Oh, dude.
You're trash.
Trash, man.
You're trash.
Oh, it's a hacker. He's a hacker.
There's so much
He's
lag.
got aimbot.
There's so much
Aimbot.
lag going on.
Aimbot is the newest one. All right, so I'm in line. No, I'm not in line yet. I'm going there. I got to get a bunch of drywall. Okay, I don't even want to do the drywall as is. I go to Home Depot. I bring in a cart from the outside because there's never carts in there. You won't find a cart in there that you need. So I go in there, I bring a cart in all the way from the back of the parking lot. I go all the way in, I go to the drywall section. There's a cart sitting right in front of the 4x8 drywall sheets, 1/2 inch. I'm like, okay, this is great. There's another cart there. Then I see a couple guys. I'm like, okay, maybe it's theirs or whatever. So I slowly push theirs away. They're looking at other things in the other side of the aisle. So I moved their cart within 5 seconds of me starting to put the first 2 sheets onto this little pallet cart.
Take my cart.
He's like, "Did you move this cart?" I go, "Oh yeah." And me being me, I'm like, "Oh yeah, man, I'm sorry. I thought they were just looking over here. Now they're going to go back over to the drywall." 2 guys there. It's a lot easier to load drywall with 2 guys, okay? And when you can get a hand at Home Depot, it's usually from someone who doesn't work at Home Depot. You got to the ones maybe out.
It's the people who do it, and they
Yes.
know how much it sucks.
So I moved my cart. I'm standing there. This guy, he's about 60. He's like, just looking at me all gruff. I'm like, I moved. What more do you want from me? So I start walking away. I'm like, I'm going to pick up my screws. I'm going to get my mud. I pick up that stuff. There's carts. There's ladders everywhere. There's little hubs with like buckets and stuff. Get all this stuff out of the way, Home Depot. You're just clogging everything up. The other day, there was a forklift had dropped 20-minute bags of mud. It had actually dropped because they'll close down the lanes.
Sure.
Well, they closed down 4 lanes because some guy actually broke something for once. I'm like, they're shutting this whole place down. I need one thing that's over there. Like, no, can't. The gate's up. Sorry. I'm like, I can move this gate. We could move this. I just left. I was like, I'm done. I'm leaving. So the guy walks. I walk back to my cart. The guy's walking away. He's walking towards the front. I'm like, where's this guy going? They haven't loaded up any drywall yet. Now it's I'm ready to load drywall. I'm ready to go. Time is money. Okay. I got to go. I'm going up to the cart. I see the guy behind me. I'm kind of looking at him. Now I'm mean mugging him. Now me and him are looking at each other and he's still walking up front. I'm like, what does he need? He has another guy. He's not looking for a loader. He's not looking for a guy to help him load. He's got a guy here to help him. I start walking towards his cart. He starts walking back towards the aisle. I walk a little bit away from the cart. He walks more steps towards the front of the store. I'm like, what are we doing here? Now we're doing a little dance, and now we're mean mugging each other across this store. If I could break him with my stare, I would have done it. Okay. So we're looking at each other, and I'm like, this guy's messing with me. This guy is messing with me. So he goes up there. He walks around. I swear he just walks around the aisle. He walks around the other side. They come up, they load up their drywall, and the guy's like, He puts his thing in the aisle. There's stairs, mind you, stairs in this bucket thing. So now theirs is blocking the aisle. I can finally load my cart. I got nowhere to go with it. I got nowhere to go once I get it. What are you guys doing? Take your cart up to the section where the section, the text to confirm section. It's like a little the little pro desk lobby. You expect 8 guys with sheets of drywall to go, we're standing in line here. I'll go wait to text. Okay, and they gotta do 40 buttons. The people at Home Depot, they're like, okay, click. What was the phone number?
Home Depot wasn't even around when those MS-DOS machines were made.
Buddy, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what. I even I go to them and I'm like, hey, what's with all the button pushes? What's with all the button? Like, hey, you got to push a lot of buttons to get that. And they're like, what's your number again? What's your name again? And then they got to sign something. They go like this. They just drag their finger straight across it. I'm like, you got something to sign? You don't even sign it? What are all these steps for? Finally, I take my drywall and I just walk totally around the store. Now I'm like, you can't drag drywall around. You can barely get a cart around Home Depot. I'm going to drag a thing. I'm long way. I'm not putting them straight up and down. I'm long way.
You're perpendicular to the cart?
No,
it's hanging off?
Yeah,
you look like a little airplane.
I got a flat cart. With all my stuff on it. So it was horrible. I go around in the next thing to the masonry aisle. It's right next there. And I'm like, the Red Sea had parted, baby. I get the red. No one's in that aisle. I push that sucker. I'm riding it at this point because I have like a personal victory. I'm like, I push it. I ride it out. Get to this lady, first lady. She's like, she could see it in my face. She could see it in my face. There were people who I swear had been waiting longer, but she's like, hey, you need some help? Like, she's like, you
need help.
You need help, pal. She helped me out. She took care of me. Shout out to, I forget what her name is at Home Depot, but the people at the pro desk are beautiful people. But everybody else in there, they don't really want to do nothing. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to do.
They want $15 an hour.
So the moral of the story is don't be a jerk.
So yeah. So I was like, we could have went even further with it. This guy was super inconsiderate. But as soon as I saw that lane, I was like, personal victory. Take it and run with it. I didn't let that one moment that guy ruin, but I had to go out and he was waiting in line. And I was like, just kind of a personal victory.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
but
sir.
See, that's patience comes,
kept my cool. I looked at him like I was going to maybe murder him.
I think he owed you a little nod, maybe a little well
played.
Oh,
his buddy, who was the bystander was like, At first, he's like, leave me out of this. Because I'm looking at him like, what's this guy doing? What game is he playing this little tango when I take 2 steps forward? He takes back. He's coming back now that I'm walking towards his cart. He thinks I'm going to move his cart. I'll move the cart at this point. I'll load my stuff on your cart, and you can have my cart. Simple as that. I'll be out of your hair in 5 minutes. I know how to load up drywall.
Yeah, I got you. Wow.
That's the friend that always gets into
me.
fights.
It got me hot. But immediately, and I was in the parking lot and it's downhill and I just rode my own cart because I parked way at the back. So like I immediately switched. I said, you know what? This is going to be a good day. Because I knew if that was going to ruin me that early in the morning, what was the rest of my day going to be like?
Yep.
Good for you. That's the whole deal, right? It's the whole hot stone thing. Mine's a little more frivolous than that. A couple weeks ago when we went out to Parlor, STL, our sponsors of the show, to celebrate. We were out there. It was their 1 year anniversary. And of course, when the Miss and I got engaged, I'm gonna throw that out there again. So we're celebrating. We're getting a little loose, right?
We're happy.
It all ties in. So we're getting a little loose. We're having some adult beverages.
A few.
Typically, when I have a couple of adult beverages,
refreshments were served.
I'm not a regular smoker, but when I have adult beverages, I like to have a smoke. And so I didn't have a pack of cigarettes with me, and that makes me a bum, right? But what I did have was
a complete bum.
But what I did have was 3 $1 bills. And so,
do you hate that guy? Do you hate the cigarette guy?
Listen, I don't. I don't typically because I've been there.
Yeah.
And so that's part of the
if
deal.
you
It's
offer
kind of
me
like
money,
this whole
I'll give
thing.
you one for free.
That's the deal. That is the deal.
No,
right? Like
I want that $1.
it used
You
to be.
take the $1? I've never taken a $1.
I'm 30 days from being tobacco free for 3 years.
Oh,
but
good job.
Yeah, I'll
Quitter.
take that
Well, see,
$1.
now it used to be
3
like
months.
a quarter would get you. A quarter would be like, hey, something like, I'll give you a quarter, and that was like kind of a fair trade. That was back.
I can make
back
a
in the day.
phone call.
The liquor stores in the
That's
Inflation.
back in the day, but the price of cigarettes have skyrocketed, right? And so I'm like, hey, look, what is it? 20 smokes in a pack? Okay. $1 for 1 cigarette, that you're making good money.
Oh,
You're making good money. And
Mhm.
I'm not interested in really having a whole pack of cigarettes. And so I'm like, all right, you know what?
Got a little buzz on, you just
caught a
need a
little bit
little-
of buzz. I just want to taste some smoke, you know? So I go outside, and there's this gal sitting there with her friend, only one smoking in the joint. And I'm like, all right, well, I go up to her kind of sheepishly.
shoot.
I got $1 in my hand. I'm not running any game. Ma'am, I just want to give you this $1 for whatever kind of atrocious cigarette you're smoking. I don't, but I was like, hey, any chance like I can give you $1 for a cigarette? Now, I've had this
Is she
happen.
looking at you, or is her back
Dead
turned?
in the eyes, she's looking at me. She sees me approach and everything.
Okay,
I'm not, and mind you, the other 3 people are Seth and Miss and Seth's friend. They're standing at the table directly. I mean, I just turned to this other table and I'm like, I've got $1 and I will buy 1 cigarette from you. I'm the only smoker in the group. None of my friends smoke, and I just caught a little buzz. I'm not even. And now typically I've had this happen, and if I only have a couple left, I'm like, man, listen, I would any other day,
Yeah.
I'd give you 1.
Usually the person, the
it's
person's
a
like,
long
I'm not going to take your last
It's
one.
early. Exactly. And if someone said, hey, I only got a couple left, I'd be like, dude, I won't even pay you for one. I don't want it.
Yeah.
But this gal looks me dead in the eyes. I go, $1 for 1 cigarette? And she goes, absolutely not. And so I'm like,
They'll walk away.
righto. And so I turn to Seth and Miss and Seth's friend, and I'm like, broad doesn't play ball. This broad doesn't play ball. I don't know. And like all of a sudden, where she kind of thought that she was like so cool, she's like,
Nailed
no.
it.
And she like looked at her friend. All of a sudden, I turn around, and my group of friends are now having a laugh at this insanely serious person and their disposition on life. 1 cigarette for $1. Get out of here, man. I'm giving you 250% markup on your cigarette. Okay, like it's a fair trade. Don't look at me like I'm an idiot. If you don't want to give it to me, say no. I'd rather not. Like I'm low, whatever. But absolutely not. Like, you know what? Hey, listen.
Was she good looking?
No, not really. Like
Okay.
she was a St. Louis 4.
Okay. Before or after she got the 2?
And after she got the 2, she like was the most unattractive thing in the world. She went negative. I was like, a simple like no, a simple no, or I only have a couple or whatever, but just absolutely not. Like, don't chase me away like I'm trying to spit on your windshield and clean it with a newspaper. I'm offering you fair value here. This is ridiculous. I was so upset too, because before I went inside, there was this nice homeless guy, and he's like, hey, man. He comes up to my window and he's like, I'm just trying to get by. He's like, I don't want to ask somebody something for, to get something for nothing. Can I sing you a song for $1? And I said, brother, you can absolutely sing me a song for $1.
What do you sing?
He goes, it's an original. And I said, okay.
Oh no.
Roll down the window. It's Miss and I. We're sitting there, front seat of the car. And this guy sings this really, really nice, just doo-wop little number. Not a lot of soul. Really good. On key, a little flat in a couple spots, but good, but really good. And like it was original. And I'm like, dude, I'll give you $2 for that, homeboy. Like that was awesome.
That was so good.
That was the barter.
Yeah.
I'll sing you. I'll sing
Was
you
it
a
Tack
frog for a buck.
Was it Tack Track?
It was not Tack Track.
I'm just kidding. Shout out to Tack Track.
What's up?
Check
Tack?
them out on YouTube.
Anyway, don't. Be
How did it
rude.
make you feel?
The whole point was, it's at first I was embarrassed until I realized how ridiculous her response was, and then she
got you for a minute?
Not to laugh at it. No, it was so instantaneous that I was like, I could have never expected her to be like, absolutely not. Like it's like I just kicked her dog. She's or something. It's like burns. Put it out on my arm.
Been like, how about a buck and a quarter?
But as soon as I turn around, I turn around to my 3 friends, and I'm like, well, this broad doesn't play ball. And she became the punchline. And it wasn't like I wasn't trying to make a joke out of her. I was just like, so taken aback by her abrasiveness.
I never had that.
I don't remember any of this. I was drinking gin out of a bucket.
There's
a picture of us on the family.
That is
true. There's some good
we
pictures.
We were drinking gin out of a bucket to celebrate.
My goodness.
Anyway, it's just like for me, being cynical and being I think being cynical is even easier, but it literally takes the same amount or less than to just be, I don't want to say agreeable, because you shouldn't just be a pushover or whatever. But to just be cordial, just to be a respectful human being. Yeah. And maybe I was disrespectful for not having it. I thought I was offering free trade. I thought I was.
Sometimes I wonder, some people just don't have that in their arsenal. Sometimes I wonder, just like some people don't have empathy or whatever.
No, they don't.
I don't know. I think that there's it was very much a mean girl mentality. Like, you remember being that middle school
you insulted her with that $1.
Would totally I have been better off? Because that's the thing.
I think here's what I would have done. I won't smooth as ice. So would have walked up like, ma'am, I think you dropped this $1. Oh, well, thanks. Oh, by the way, do you have a smoke? Oh, there you go.
And
if she would have said absolutely not,
here's the deal.
That wasn't even your $1.
Then you're out of buck.
She probably saw that you were with Seth.
And
I'm sure Seth was like real aggressive with her if she was a St. Louis 4.
We were there celebrating a year anniversary of a lovely little event.
Date with me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
He did. We were paired up. That's the whole thing. Nobody's running game. Especially on you.
Oh, that's just rude now.
Yeah, I'm going there.
Don't
give it up. Just give it up. Hey, listen, don't be rude, guys. It takes less effort.
It's all right.
It takes less effort to just put a smile on your face. Smile through it. That's all I'm trying to say.
Let's do it.
Hey, let's go to break. Guys. Let's jump. We're up against it. Let's jump to break. On the other side, let's talk to one of the brightest libertarian minds in the country, who is going to bolster this Republican Liberty Caucus. I don't know where he's going to fit in to the political scene, but I do know that he's going to be an elected official somewhere in this state, in this country.
God, I hope
before it's all said and done, God willing. Guys, this is Hoosier Sophisticate on WGNU920am.com. We will see you on the other side of the break.
For the St. Louis radio world, Hoosier Sophisticate with Craig Kohler and Stephen Elgin.
Michael Minkin from StopAbductions.com.
Because we believe that the aliens are actually invading and taking people with the purpose of taking control of our society. Aliens are mixing our DNA with their DNA to make a new race that is now integrating into our society.
Hoosier Sophisticate, Fridays from 6 to 8 p.m. on WGNU.
Have you ever been pressed for time? Rushing to get to that very important meeting with the big guys, or trying to beat that grace period at work and finding somewhere to park is nearly impossible? You finally find a parking spot in front of the parking meter, and you realize that you didn't bring any change. You happen to look over and see a homeless man sitting on the sidewalk, and for a half second, we immediately assume that the homeless person wants something from us. We snap back to reality as we check all our pockets for change because we don't want to get a parking ticket. Coincidentally, we look over and see the homeless man handing us the exact change we need for the parking meter. My new album, View from the Inside Out, was created to encourage listeners to not judge a book by its cover, Because sometimes it's the person that we least expect that will be the one that gives us exactly what we need when we need it. View from the Inside Out drops March 19 everywhere. And remember, integrity matters the most when you're by yourself.
Thanks for listening. This is Integrity. Follow me everywhere at Integrity Music.
Hey Hoosiers, Craig Kohler here. With home buying season heating up, be sure to get a quote from a top agency and provider of the #1 home insurer in North America. They offer coverage that's second to none. In fact, if your AC goes out, they offer a new endorsement where you can get a replacement from a local HVAC company. Give them a call, 314-961-4800. If you get a machine and you don't talk to a person, we'll give you one of these fine Hoosier Sophisticate tees. Just takes one phone call or apply online at carltoninsurance.net. People do business with James because they like and trust him. Just check them out on Google and Facebook. If your insurance is costing you a leg and an arm, then call James Carlton State Farm. The government thinks 3 letters are bad. So bad, in fact, we won't even mention them. They even think that we've been waiting on them to tell us what works and what doesn't. Fine. We'll play your game. Look, friends, our fans have given us countless anecdotal testimonies of how Missouri Medical Cannabis Company's hemp oil is helping them and their pets. Now, we wouldn't be so forward as to say this oil that has been used for a couple thousand years for a smorgasbord of ailments and applications has any positive effect on your health or well-being. But we will tell you, it's a neat oil to have around the house. We personally think it makes your pet's food taste better. And if your pet's food tastes better, they're going to be happier and generally more playful. Come to think of it, it probably makes your food taste better. May as well see if it makes you happier and more playful. Life's too short to worry about what a group of unelected bureaucrats think about you or your habits. Go to momedcanco.com and try out this delicious oil. It might make things better. And by might, I mean it probably will, but we aren't crazy enough to say that. If you just want to taste it and try it out, enter HOSO at checkout, and you're going to get 15% off everything site-wide. Just a reminder, this hemp oil was rumored to have all kinds of benefits before Mitch McConnell saved us from something we didn't need saved from. Thanks, Mitch. momedcanco.com. momedcanco.com. momedcanco.com.
Hey everybody, it's Chris Denman. Be sure to join myself, Travis Terrell, and a cast of thousands on St. Louis Live, Monday through Friday, 7 to 10 a.m. right here on 920 a.m. WGNU, and stream it online at weareliveradio.com.
I believe that if we are honest with ourselves, that the most fascinating problem in the world is who am I? I don't think there can be any more fascinating preoccupation than that.
Hoosier Sophisticate on WGNU with your hosts, Craig Kohler and Stephen Elgin.
Most of us feel I, ego, myself, my source of consciousness, to be a center of awareness and of a source of action that resides in the middle of a bag of skin. In the middle of a bag of skin. In the middle of a bag of skin. In the middle of a bag of skin.
Seth bringing the heat again with Alan Watts.
Bag of skin.
You like that? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Hoosier Sophisticate. We are ringing in the new year. We're gonna go through all of our greatest moments of 2018. A lot of those were made up of this gentleman that is on the Parlor STL and Tower Classic tattooing phone lines. He was a former U.S. Senate candidate for Missouri. Man, did we ever try so hard to get him in. He is the owner of the libertarianrepublic.com, one of the most savvy people in the political spectrum when it comes to online social media interaction. We got Austin Petersen on the phone. Austin, what is up, brother?
What up? What up?
What are you doing, dog?
And a great tipper, I'm told.
A great tipper?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very nice.
That's good to hear, man. That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
It's on your Wikipedia.
That's awesome. Somebody went to Wikipedia and did that? That's so great.
Craig actually says the opposite, which is good.
Yeah, for sure.
That's hilarious. I'm sure somebody, I am a good tipper. Somebody must have gone in there and edited that. That's cool.
We get all of our information about you from Wikipedia, Austin. So that's
yeah. My favorite part of my Wikipedia bio is when they say Austin was living behind a Midtown Quick Trip when he decided to run for president.
I love that.
And it sounds like I was living like in a dumpster behind the Quick Trip, but it was a duplex. Whatever.
There's Quick Trips in nice neighborhoods.
And whatever. Just haters, man.
Awesome. Now that all the craziness of the election season is behind us and everything, how you find yourself unwinding a little bit? And what are you doing now, brother?
Loosey goosey, man. I feel great. You know, like not having to serve the public is also a benefit to, you know, that's the upside of Luke.
I get it.
I've been hosting, fill-in hosting in KCMO radio out here in Kansas City in the morning. It's just a little temporary thing. And like this morning, we had a caller call in because I was saying that, you know, we get the government that we deserve because, you know, if you're angry at the politicians, just remember we're voting for these people, right? And this lady called in. She was so mad. She was like, well, we vote for these people. This is what we want. Maybe these are the policies that we want. And like, this is the democracy. And then I just cut her mic and I just said right into the microphone, I said, democracy is the theory that the common people know what they want and deserve to get it good and hard. So,
my man,
I'm joking. No, I'm having fun. You know, like I said, you said the Libertarian Republic is up and running. I got a host of new writers, young talent. I'm working with the Republican Liberty Caucus here in Missouri to support some of the Libertarian Republicans who won their races, who are going to be elected officials here on the state level. You know, I'm not super optimistic on the federal level, although I am now a little bit more than I was because of what's happening with Syria, the announced drawdown in Syria and Afghanistan. That is kind of a Christmas miracle, at least if it happens. So mostly kind of an optimistic really on the local level, but on the federal level, we still got problems. We got bump stock bans. We have a shutdown government, and frankly, I'm going to be interested to see how Senator-elect Hawley handles many of these issues.
It'll be super interesting. You know, you're bringing up kind of what's going on at the federal level with Syria, and what's interesting is you know, Mattis looked like maybe Trump's best cabinet pick out of the gate. But then I go back and I look at him. He's the warrior monk, right? And I go back and look at it. But even he is a product of the military-industrial complex. It's all he's known is interaction throughout all of these countries. And to be honest, we don't know of who that true I don't want to say pacifist, but who that true peace seeker is through non-intervention in the military, because that's not how you gain your accolades in the military. I want to cheer this move. We have no business being over there. It's kind of one of those things. We don't want to be the world police. So give us your take on why it's a good thing that we're going to get out of there.
Sure. Well, I have great respect for Jim Mattis, Mad Dog Mattis, and I thought he was a good pick. But in his exit note, he was correct when he says the president deserves to have someone who shares his vision of foreign policy. And Mattis was not always conservative on many important issues, like he actually advised President Trump not to pull out of the Paris Climate Treaty. So there were some things about Mattis that I didn't agree with. I'm hoping we can get somebody in there with a little bit more conservative bona fides, although, you know, when they get to the top, they're not especially partisan necessarily, as much as they are ideological themselves. But I think that right now the president is looking to get a win. And he also is, I think he's starting to understand that the power of the presidency is not nearly as unlimited as many people make it out to be. One of the things I think he's realizing is that he only has certain power and certain authority that he can exercise. He can't fund the wall himself. He needs Congress to do that. And now we have an incoming Democratic House that's only going to create more problems for him, which could extend this shutdown, well, indefinitely for now. But when it comes to the pulling out of troops in Syria and Afghanistan, I think the president rightly understands that he has the authority to remove those troops. As the commander-in-chief, you know, they put those troops in there under an authorization of military force, and the president can go in and remove those troops if he so desires. And we don't know if he did that specifically because he has been under such scrutiny and he is looking to get a victory that his supporters will agree with him on, because frankly, I would say that a slight majority of the people who support President Trump tend to be what we would call paleo-conservatives. Those people tend to be, and I'm not saying this pejoratively, but they tend to be isolationists. That's why they would agree with Trump on pulling out of Syria and Afghanistan. But unfortunately, being isolationist, they're also going to agree with things like tariffs, protectionism, and walls. Right. Exactly. Right. So being a non-interventionist such as I am, I'm not an isolationist. I think that if we could get the troops out of Syria and Afghanistan and get rid of the tariffs and drop this stupid border wall nonsense, which I know they won't. I mean, we'd be on the path to the kinds of policies that I'd really want to see. We did get major tax cuts. Why do you think the stock market is expanding, or why do you think our economy is expanding? Why do you think unemployment is low? It's a direct result of these Trump economic policies, other than the tariffs, I would say. But I honestly think that we're on a pretty good path. I worry for Trump because of the withering criticism that he's facing from now the neoconservative establishment Republicans who are agreeing with the now not anti-war leftists. Did you guys see that Noam Chomsky is endorsing staying in Syria?
That's what's great. Ann Coulter is trying to pull out, and Noam Chomsky's trying to stay in. What is this world at right now?
What are we living in? That is how much people are suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. I campaigned against President Trump. I said a lot of not nice things about President Trump.